Hey, what's up, y'all? It's L Love with MsConceptionz, where we identify the misconception and we expose the truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, to MsConceptionz, so that you can be a part of my community. And also, don't forget to comment below, so that I can know what your thoughts are. You can tell me what you're thinking, tell me some other things y'all want me to discuss. And also, I'll be posting some other content too. It's not just gonna be all information. It's gonna be some different things as well. Next week, I might have some family members. I might be talking to some different family about other things, maybe my MS story, things like that. This week, let me recap. Week 1, we talked about health, and week 2, we talked about vulnerability. This week, we are talking about boundaries, okay? So boundaries, and the boundaries is such a broad topic. It's so broad, okay? There's so many types of boundaries. Basically, you can name something, and then you can put the word boundaries in front of it, and then it's that, okay? Boundaries. Physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, health boundaries. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, boundaries are so wide. There's such a broad range of boundaries. Boundaries, though, in the general sense, are just limits. It's basically shows you where one thing ends and another thing begins. That's the general definition of a boundary, which is why it's so wide, and is why it can be placed in front of any entity to describe. So that's boundaries. All right. I want to talk about emotional boundaries today. I mean, yes, I am a therapist, and yes, I practice counseling, and I practice therapy, and I talk with people. But I will say that this topic it's pretty much one of the highest, either because you don't know how to communicate it well, or set well, or one of the other two. It leads to a lot of different stress, or other issues in relationships or in general. So let me talk about emotions and emotional boundaries real quick. So with emotional boundaries, we have emotional boundaries in general. Emotional boundaries are where you show you will put a boundary up to manage yourself better, to manage your emotions better, or to not have to deal with someone else's. So it's like, okay, I'm going to walk away because they're doing a lot. Or um I'm going to tell them, you know what, I don't want to talk about this right now because I'm not ready to. This is actually too personal for me. Things like that. Those are great emotional boundaries to set for multiple said reasons. But what I want to take it in even more, okay, is the internal emotional boundaries, okay? Because internally, sometimes we forget that we also are able to set boundaries, or to have a boundary at least. We're used to having boundaries externally because it's like, all right, this way I don't go off, or this way I can respect people, or da 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 da. But in our internal world, it's the same way. We need to respect and take care of us, take care of ourselves. You know what I mean? So, internally, I'm gonna tell you why this is so important to me. Um, as you know, or if you do not know, I have multiple sclerosis. I've had multiple sclerosis. Was diagnosed with MS. So mouthful MS since I was 17 years old. So with that, my brain was going left, right, up, down, all kinds of things with thoughts, because MS is something that affects your brain and your spinal cord. Your brain and your spinal cord are like attached to so many, your central nervous system is attached to so many other systems in your body. They help you function, help you breathe, help you eat, help you wink, help everything. So when you have something that affects your central nervous system function, it's gonna affect a lot of your systems in your body. So I'll give you an example. All right. So for me, my one of my main issues used to be and still kind of is because the damage is caused, my vision. So optical neuritis. Optical neuritis is when your vision, your optic nerve is when your optic nerve is inflamed and causes blurred vision, your blurred vision, pain, and all kinds of other things. This flares up from time to time for me. When I am having a relapse or a flare up, is what they call it with multiple sclerosis. So I had so many of those, or I guess repeated to the same spot, that it did cause permanent damage. So my left eye is very, very blurry all the time. So, with that said, once I began walking, living along with, or living with my life with MS, to, I had to learn that internally and emotionally, with outside of me, of course. Remember, because last week, vulnerability, humanly, everyone, "Hey, you look great." So I'm like, all right, to uphold that, right? I wanted to uphold that. But we got better with being vulnerable. But internally, I was not okay. And so we think if we can control our outside world, internally kind of, because no one can see that. So it's just like me and just, you know. But you also have the ability to have a choice. You have a choice in the matter in how you control what you think and how you are, your emotions are on the inside. And I didn't really grasp that or take hold of that until I was like, if I don't get this, I'm gonna go crazy, because I had evidence outside of me. So my eye blurry, hurt, eye pain. I know that this causes permanent eye damage where you can go blind. I'm 17. Or any age that you're at, that could be scary. So I'm scared, rightfully so. However, if I don't put some sort of a boundary around that, my emotions, anxiety is gonna go. It's not, I can't, I have to learn. And I had to learn to make a choice. Okay, I'm not gonna let it go. It had to be like, all right, that's it. I ain't gonna let it go no further than that. Until I have evidence. Until it's needed to go there. Like I'm not going to get sad about going blind because I'm not blind. That's an emotional boundary. I'm not going to get sad about being in a wheelchair because currently I'm still walking. Okay? Some of us have where we are sad or we're angry or we are the emotions that we experience inside. We might have controlled it outside. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But inside, we have the emotion and we are in there just struggling because we are going off of where our emotions have taken us instead of like, okay, right now I'm scared. I'm scared because my eye's blurry. This could mean that my eye could have permanent eye damage. Okay, I'm scared. This is scary. I'm not going to deny that. However, I had to say, but when I started going, like, oh my God, I'm gonna, uh, if I'm blind, uh, it's like, but you're not blind, okay? Right now you are not. Or right now this is not what's going on. I had to put it in its place, you know. And I knew I had a choice because in the word it says, if I don't have a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self discipline. So I'm like, oh, I got a choice in the matter. Okay, okay. So let me settle in on my choice. This means like just because emotion comes, I don't got to run with it. Sometimes it works if it's pleasant too, if it's a good feeling too. It's like, you know, those are more pleasant to run with, but sometimes they can get us in trouble too. So you have a choice with how you want to. You have a choice. Oh, this food's good. This food's good. Let me keep eating it. But you got a choice though. You do have a choice. You have a choice in where your emotions take you. You have a choice on where your emotional boundaries can keep you. So, I wanted to talk specifically about emotional boundaries today because though that is one thing that helped me a lot and through how I dealt with my life with MS and walking with it because I mean the symptoms that you have when you have a chronic illness or something or anything for that matter, it can take you up, down, left, right, and center. Okay. But you're like, oh my gosh. And it wasn't until I really grasped or really took in that thing, I got a choice. Not suppress it, not ignore it, not lie about it. Just I got a choice that I realized, oh, okay. This doesn't have to take me to the depths of the to the depths of the ocean. Okay. It can keep me in the place where it needs to be. Or it can be my emotions don't have even inside of me, you know? So I hope that makes sense. Per usual, I'm gonna leave you with something. Where or what emotion or how can you internally, what emotional boundaries do you need to consider this week? What emotional boundaries do you need to consider this week? Or how can you be more aware? How can be how can you be more aware of emotional boundaries? So, and it's basically just being more, it should build on the vulnerability one that we talked about last week. So if you thought about like, okay, how can I be more vulnerable? So you're like, okay, let me be honest with myself. So this should build on that. This should build on that. All right. What emotional boundaries do I need to set? Or what's some emotional boundaries that I need to just be aware of? You might be good on the outside. People might think like, wow, he's so controlled. He's so calm. He's so... But you know what's going on the inside of you. You know what's going on the inside of you. You know. And you might think like, who cares? But say man looks at the outward, but God looks at the heart. So he cares because he wants us to have an abundant, fulfilled life. And if on the inside you in turmoil, why? We don't need to feel. We don't need to be in that. So, what emotional boundaries you need to be aware of? Comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As usual, I love you all. And see y'all next week. MsConceptionz.